Wait, remember Mario Hoops 3-on-3? Well, there are few guarantees when it comes to the Mario franchise, specifically in the world of spin-offs. We know we'll get another Mario Party every so often. Eventually, when they stop milking Mario Kart 8, we will get another one, but there is always a slew of Mario-related sports games that come out. If we look currently, the Switch has plenty, and we know a new baseball game is right around the corner, but so far, these have all been pretty much an unfinished swing and a miss. That's a problem to discuss elsewhere, but there was a time where Nintendo was open to trying out another sport with the Mario characters that wasn't already an ongoing series, and that was basketball. Yup, Mario Hoops 3-on-3, a Nintendo DS game that would take the Mario Brothers and Associates to the court of the basketball variety along with some random friends from the world of Square Enix. It's because they made the game. Neat. Today, I wanted to dig into this weird little game as I remember being one of the few people hyped about it for whatever reason at the time, and I absolutely played the heck out of it. So let's get ready, pass me the rock, and let me sink this jumper as we go 3-on-3 in Mario Hoops. Super Mario decided that it was time to start settling some beefs on the court once again. But it's no longer the tennis court, it's the basketball court. Well, actually 16 of them. With Mario Hoops 3-on-3, it just makes me smile looking at this logo. Coming to the US on, this date, Mario was ready to have a completely different experience on the latest Nintendo handheld at the time, the DS. First announced at Nintendo's showcase at that year's E3, yeah, the same one where the Wii was fully shown off in detail, where once you get past all of that hype, you get a smaller little announcement for Mario did you miss it? It was a blink and you're already on to another game being showcased moment. But whatever, it was announced, and since it was being marketed along with the upcoming Nintendo DS Lite, that system itself was the main focus anyway. Either way, the game still came out, and it was literally to a T what the title said. It was a Mario game, it had some hoops, and you played 3 versus 3. To be super simple about it, it's basketball. The team that scores the most points in the game wins. But there is that added Mario flair to spice up the gameplay to make it feel more engaging. All around the court are these question mark panels that represent the mystery boxes from a traditional Mario game, in which they move across the surface of the court that can either aid you in offense by dribbling on them to get coins for a better score for the shots you make, or on defense you can walk over the panels and receive items to help attack the offense, with items like bananas, bombs, and shells. Both offense and defense here get a lot to focus on, as when you have the ball you're more focused on getting the maximum value out of your next basket, earning coins, making good passes, performing better focused or special shots, and being able to master the controls, which I'll go into in a moment. And as far as defense, you need to work on stopping the other team through a combination of the random items that you can get, including jumping up to block or intercept the ball, or going fully in on intimidating them, not letting them buy with the ball, building up a force field between you and the offense, just so at the right moment you can knock them down. There are no rules here, only the taste of these air plumbers. Plus you can do a ground pound, which can lead to the opponent dropping the ball, and so the game is fairly easy to pick up and play to understand, but it does seem a bit daunting at first, and that's all thanks to the use of touch controls, meaning you'll be using your fingers or a stylus to truly play the game. Wow, playing a game on a DS that's using the DS's features? How bold. The touchscreen is used for the control of the ball, mainly for dribbling or taking a shot, but you combine all of this with the use of the D-pad to control the player's movement, but in case you aren't right-handed, they do have an option to flip that to the A, B, X, and Y buttons, so they can serve as a D-pad, so that's pretty cool. And now to truly grasp the control scheme for the game, you'll start easily picking a natural way to control your character and the ball when it's in your possession, while at the same time understanding defense, trying to steal the ball and getting down the more difficult part, the special shots. The special shots in the game are character-specific specials that you can perform by tapping and following the correct spots on the touchscreen for that character's special symbol. When doing this, it means you have to stand still, which by that action leaves you open, so the faster you are with this, the better. But pulling them off can truly be helpful for the match difficulty thanks to earning more points if successfully pulling out one and actually sinking your shot. I want to reiterate that all of this does seem a bit more complicated to play because of the controls, but after getting back into this game and playing around, it started feeling pretty natural and easy to continue on with. It goes to show that there is some innovation in trying to uniquely put a basketball game on the DS that mixes both regular and touchscreen controls. A lot of games on the DS I felt had some issues trying to find a unique enough rhythm for that, or just defaulted to mainly regular controls with some touch controls for basic features. So I at least want to give the game props for actively making the focus a bit of both, giving this game an experience you can't really replicate elsewhere, except for when they released the game on the Wii U's eShop. But I mean, that system is all about the dual system plus touchscreen combination functionality too. But just how did this Square Enix made Mario sports title even come to be in the first place?
Mario Hoops 3-on-3 for Nintendo DS.
If we want to break down how this game came to be, we first look at Square Enix, a company with a long history of memories made on Nintendo, along with everyone who had their lives changed for their impressive run on the PlayStation 1. Square Enix initially intended to make a completely different game, or something along the lines of what it turned into, just minus all of the Mario magic sprinkled in. But at some point in the development process, the company felt that this concept they had could work a lot better if they can partner a little further with Nintendo again and transform this game into a Mario branded one, which they got the green light to go ahead and do. So thus, whatever they had created quickly became a Mario basketball game that would also feature a few characters from the Square Enix realm. For Nintendo, you had your main staples like Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Wario, Waluigi, Daisy, Bowser Jr., and Diddy Kong, along with some unlockable characters like Bowser, Dixie Kong, Birdo, Koopa Paratroopa, Fly Guy, and of course, the most important one, Boo. From Square Enix, the game had Moogle, Black Mage, White Mage, Cactuar, and Ninja to unlock. So overall, there was a lot of variety for the characters to choose from. You select the characters you want to play as by junking them. If that's not a bonus point in your book like it is in mine, then I think you need to seek help. To get some more promotion for this game out there than just a few second non-verbal announcement at E3, there were two browser games released called Dribble Skills and Superstar Shootout. Dribble Skills has you managing multiple basketballs that you're dribbling at once as you try to hit question mark panels on the floor for coins, at the same time trying to avoid green shells sliding across the court. Superstar Shootout has you shooting basketballs, trying to have them bounce off directional obstacles while you collect coins and hopefully make it in the basket. But those flash games aren't the real Hoops 3-on-3, let's continue just digging into that for now, because there's just something to be said about looking at this game and getting such a sunny and bright vibe from it. It's colorful and inviting, and it really sparks something in me to never forget about it. I like sports games in this type of more arcadey way, where it doesn't feel or have that realism that doesn't do it for me anyway with a regular sports game. While abiding by the rules of basketball in general, the game has that Mario sports game charm to it that changes up the formula, that adds more thought into how you play, but still offering a more silly time. I just absolutely love the Mario detail this game has within the aesthetics of each course, bringing in so many Mario characters for the backgrounds or to be hazards that appear randomly on certain courts, bloopers, bob-ombs, cheap-cheeps, dry bones, thwomps, and so many more to name, just make this feel much more than a basketball game with Mario characters in it, instead feeling like a Mario game that we're playing basketball in. Mixing that with the delightful color palette and charming animations, the game feels like a beautiful treat to look at and play, as well as to listen to. The music in this game is fantastic. I mean, the Mario franchise is full of incredible music, we all know that, but here with Masayoshi Soken composing and arranging everything with a few tracks put together by Koji Kondo and Yukio Kananoke, plenty of genres, instruments, and ideas were played around with, offering some catchy tracks that'll have you staying in the title screen even longer, or the character select screen any longer than you really need to be, with some intense tracks that are perfect to play to, and it even made me want to just go off and listen to the soundtrack on its own. It's truly just that great. But I know that because of the controls, the game's ramp up in difficulty and possible points of disappointment in terms of bonus content, that many may not be as into this game as I personally am. From my time playing it again and remembering back to when I first got the game, it just has this perfect combination of sleek and clunky that shouldn't necessarily work on paper, but for the most part, again, at least for me, it really does. The clunky feeling comes from the controls and how easy or difficult it is to learn them. And even when you do, learning then how to use everything in a faster, less hesitant way to beat all of the tourneys. But sometimes it's not your fault certain actions aren't performed, as not every tap or movement that you make on the touchscreen is truly registered. flustered, leading to a lot of double tapping or constantly trying to perform something, taking your main focus away from the top screen for just a little too long sometimes. The sleek term is for how good the game looks, how polished everything outside of the gameplay truly is, but of course, everything most of all rides on what this game has to offer throughout its different modes, any unlockables, and what there is for bonus content. When things start really getting intense in the game, that's when it becomes a lot more fun. There's so many satisfying feelings you get from the serotonin dispense thanks to just performing a slam dunk, but once you start using the items to make your shots worth a lot more, and you're dealing with high scores in the hundreds, it's legitimately some of the most fun I've had with any Mario sports title out there. Surface level, it's a fun basketball game with characters we like, but you can also play this game with a deeper skill level thanks to understanding how to maximize the points earned for your shots and how to be an aggressive defense that is constantly up in the offense's face. Between the 3-on-3, you're able to switch between your three so you can be more in control of your gameplay tactics, deciding when you want to be more focused on what in the game and what you trust the computer to do. The main game through the 4 different modes offer tougher challenges the more you dig into it. So when you're dealing with other items more so than the coins or basic defense attacks, navigating the use or getting around and recovering from items like lightning balls, poison mushrooms, or stars, it starts becoming a lot more to deal with and more that you have to try and focus on. So I can't believe that Mario Hoops 3-on-3 genuinely offers a real bit of difficulty spiking that makes it or breaks it for you. Some stages get their own special items like a purple slot coin that powers up a slot machine to add even more bonus points to that match, a mimic treasure chest that when thrown follows the character with the ball, trying to separate the two, and freezies which on contact freezes the character that's hit. But yes, if you thought there was a god item that never misses and will do damage, similar to Mario Kart, the spinny shell here acts just like the flying blue shell, and it is targeted directly to the basketball. No matter where it is or who has it, it will hit it. I mentioned the stages earlier that are all pretty unique and offer a great bit of fun to hoop in, as each tourney in the game technically has 4 stages, with the mushroom tourney having the Mario Stadium, a basic and standard court, Koopa Beach, which offers some tropical and pirate-infested vibes, Peach Field, which has a special basketball hoop that is held up by Lakitu, as he'll switch sides with the basket depending on which team currently has the ball, and then there's Sunset Beach. It's just the same as Koopa Beach, only sunsetty. The flower tourney has DK Cruiser, which is obviously a Donkey Kong court, and it takes place on a floating raft. Luigi's Mansion, which explains itself, but it has some ghosts there that try to steal the ball from you, and that's fun. Daisy Garden, which instead of baskets, there are 2 PD piranhas that act as the baskets, which causes you to play with some more tactics for close-up play, as you can't dunk on them unless you somehow put them to sleep. Lastly, there is Marlboro Garden, where surprisingly no smoking is allowed, but just like cigarettes, the map has toxins in the way of a fun time. Star Tourney has some of the most fun visuals with the courts, like Wario Factory, that has you using an elevator system to avoid bob-ombs on the court, Junior Street, which is just the prelude to the Square Enix Nintendo collaboration Wii game Fortune Street, and yeah, it's the one with the giant slot machine, Bowser's Castle, where things can get hot and your buns could get burnt, with the last court being Glare Desert, that has a tornado that gets in the way. How convenient of it to be right there. Our final tourney, the Rainbow Tourney, has some spectacular vibes with Sherbet Land, having this nice Aurora Borealis in the sky. Blue Cheap Sea has everyone playing basketball underwater, affecting some of the physics going around and adding a bunch of environmental challenges to navigate. Pirate Ship, which is literally just a pirate ship, one that has cannonballs rolling rampant across the court. And finally, Rainbow Ship, a much more pleasant ship to be on, as there is nothing special, weird, or different about this court. It's just a regular basketball court, aside from it being up in the air. The variety added enough value as to not get bored by the same locations for too long. Giving a bunch of these courts some hazards, special items, and extra gimmicks only adds another layer to the detail that went into the game. It felt like there was more care given to this game than what you initially think it is on the surface. The normal level of difficulty for these tourneys, like I mentioned already, offers quite the challenge, but then there is also the hard difficulty version that offers much more of a challenge than you may be ready for. But hey, some of the unlockables are only available based on the ranking of bronze, silver, or gold within each tourney for both difficulties. Unlockables in the game overall include the other characters mentioned earlier, different colors or variations of the ball you play with, alternative looks for the characters, and if you look back to when I mentioned the courses just a moment ago, 3 of those have to be unlocked. Sunset Beach is only attainable through playing on Koopa Beach between 4 and 6 p.m. to match average sunset or closer to sunset times. Marlboro Garden is unlocked by performing 3 dunks in Daisy Garden and getting the blue seed out of one of the question mark panels. And Glare Desert is unlocked unlocked when you score 800 or more points on the Junior Street Court, and Claire Desert is where you unlock the secret character Cactor as well. There's a lot to do in the game and a lot to unlock, which gives the game so much replay value, at least how I view it. So aside from the tourneys to play, before you even get to them, if you want to learn the rules of the game, understand the play style, and essentially just practice, there's the challenges mode that, again, first and foremost, offers you just practice. And later on, after completing all the different practice modes, you'll get more challenge-based modes. There's a dribble race that acts as a time trial to dribble over question mark panels to collect 100 coins as fast as you can, and if you beat the best times on the first 2 courses of Peach's Castle and Sunshine Road, then Rainbow Road is unlocked. In exhibition mode, you can set up matches however you like with a variety of difficulty levels for the computer. There was also an online component to this game called Matchup that let you play a variety of other modes along with some friends. You can set up an exhibition match between you and another person, 3-on-3. You can battle others in a dribble race, and then there's Coin Hunter, where it has you use items on the other players to bring down their held 50 coins to 0 as they try to do the same to you. But unfortunately, that's where any extras really end. I'd say that a fair share of Mario games have some extra bonuses that offer a rewarding surprise for them being there. And while I don't fault this game for having anything extra like that, I do fault it for absolutely missing the chance to have an assortment of basketball-related minigames. Stuff that you can play solo, against the computer, or even against friends online, like a shootout contest for whoever gets the most points through the baskets made. Some distance shooting, 1-on-1 and 2-on-2 modes, free throw contests, a game of horse except you can call it hoops or Mario or whatever 5-letter word you want. Look, what I'm asking for is just utilizing the game that you made, Square Enix. While I love the majority of the product, the oversight of not adding anything extra like this just feels a bit lacking in context to the quality and thoroughness of the rest of the package. But if we take that thought away, just looking at what the game has to offer on its own as it is, yeah, it's still a great game that gives you some intense gameplay the more that you get into it, a bunch of fun characters to play as or against, some gorgeous levels to play on, and above all else, it offers a rarer sport for Mario to play. In fact, let's look into Mario's history of hooping.
Welcome to basketball.
Mario Slam Basketball sur Nintendo DS.
Now, Mario Hoops 3-on-3 was a standalone sports spin-off game for the franchise. So in saying that, yeah, there's no real sequel or next iteration for this specific Mario sport. Well, at least not on the DS, and definitely not on the 3DS. Yeah, believe it or not, this sports compilation Mario game right here has 5 sports in it. Soccer, baseball, tennis, golf, and yep, you guessed it, not basketball, horse riding. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. It doesn't make sense at all. But if we instead look to the Nintendo Wii, we may just find our saving grace. Behold, Mario Sports Mix, where front and center, Mario is ballin'. They also have a bunch of other cool choices for sports that we haven't really seen before, and wait, they have Square Enix characters here too? Ah, I should have known. Square Enix, you sly dog, you really knew what little old me wanted. 4 years later, after Hoops 3-on-3, Mario Sports Mix released in 2010, and it had basketball, and was made by the people behind Hoops 3-on-3. This should, no pun intended, be a slam dunk, right? It's fine. I think the game looks great, and I love that it's on the Wii, so there is some form of motion controls that can be had there, but that's what also hampered the experience. The game didn't utilize the platform it was on enough, or do anything overly cool or unique to help out the reception the game was getting. Very much unlike the last game, which very much so used the platform it was on to its advantage. It just didn't have a lot to offer for the price point, and while the other games on it were cool, I would have loved to see all of the development effort go into a full-on Mario basketball game that feels truly fleshed out, more so than a semi-glorified mini party game experience here. It's not bad, there's some definite highlights overall, but it's just not as good or as memorable as the game that came out 4 years earlier on the DS. So what if we look back then before Hoops 3-on-3 came out, taking a trip back slightly earlier in time? Stick with me here. One of my favorite types of sports games to play were the weird over-the-top ones, more specifically the Street franchises from EA, that would take football, basketball, the other football, and would release several volumes of them in this Street series that would contrast their more realistic counterparts, making the sports feel partly like a more arcade-esque game. The amount of hours that my dad and I would play NBA Street Volume 2 specifically on the GameCube is uncountable. This game, the music from it, the different courts to play on, the ridiculous ways to flood the scoreboard was just, it's like nothing else. And then in 2005, Volume 3 in the NBA Street series was coming out, which is exciting on its own for someone who was a a fan of the previous one, but there was something exclusive to that version of the game for the GameCube. The Nintendo All-Stars bonus with Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach being all thrown into the mix, which I mean, come on. This right here is just ridiculous, as Mario is interacting with basic-looking humans, just like we later see him do in Mario Odyssey. It's just so weird and I love it. This was all done in part thanks to a deal between Nintendo and EA, where it became a win-win for Nintendo to have an exclusive version of the game, and EA gets the benefits of more sales hopefully because they have the Mario peeps in their game. Or should I say games. They also put this trio in SSX Tour with some more exclusive stuff like a whole course to shred called Nintendo Village. As much fun as SSX is, we are here to talk about basketball. So back to NBA Street Volume 3. Now this plays way differently from Mario Hoops 3-on-3, but it plays just like a basketball game, specifically the NBA Street basketball game, so it had a less realistic feel still. But it's Mario playing within the gameplay of the game that they're guesting in. But I guess when you really think about it at this point, there was nothing to really compare it to, as again, this game came out the year before Mario Hoops did, so well, at least we learned that there's a pattern of Mario liking to play basketball. I guess now he's just been on the bench for quite some time, and for that, it's unforgivable. But Nintendo, you have the chance to fix this. All you have to do is pick from one of these options, and all will be well. You can either release a port of Mario Hoops 3-on-3 on the Switch, or if you're feeling bold, you can make a brand new Mario Hoops game for the Switch, or surprise bonus option, do both. But let's be realistic here. You're going to choose a fill in your own answer, which will say, go f yourself, Jordan. We don't care what you want. And to that I say, yeah, true. What I like about Mario is that it isn't just one style of gameplay. You can have your traditional 2D gameplay, your groundbreaking 3D platforming, even something in between. But I appreciate that the franchise also takes major steps to create different types of games like Paper Mario, Super Mario RPG, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, the Mario and Luigi series, and more, while also playing in completely different fields like the Mario Party games, the Mario Kart games, and the countless amount of sports games. And you're telling me that there's so-called real Olympics outside of the Mario and Sonic series that they aren't involved in? Yikes, no thanks. While I think that Mario Hoops 3-on-3 is a not-so-hidden gem, I really wish it wasn't kind of a one-hit wonder. Sure, going back and playing it offered a lot of fun that I fondly remembered having back when it originally came out, but man, what I wouldn't give to see this have some sort of sequel or new iteration on something like, I don't know, the Nintendo Switch, that'd be kind of cool. The only thing that I'd ask is that if you make this Nintendo, or even if you have Square Enix return to make it, please, for the love of the Mario sports games, can you release the game fully finished? No cut content to add later, no random DLC drops to make up for it, nothing less than a finished game of Mario characters shooting some b-ball outside of the Mushroom Kingdom. So Nintendo, please don't be up to no good, or I'll start making truffle in your neighborhood. Get it? It's truffle. Mushroom Kingdom? Never mind. Let me know your thoughts on Mario Hoops 3-on-3 if you had the chance to play it in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe for more. Later.